Hello, my name is Hillary Weber, and I am the owner of Unleashed Pet Services, and I have here with me
Brenna Gray, the owner of Premier Animal Wellness and Surgery, also known as PAWS. So, Hillary, questions that we commonly get from pet owners. So, kind of a two-part question here is, one, should I get two puppies at the same time? Pros and cons of that.
So, the only pro I can think of is that your dog will have a playmate, but that is almost a con at the same time. Because my first thought is littermate syndrome, which is when you get two puppies, they don't even have to be from the same litter, but roughly close together in age. And like, you know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But you get two puppies close together in age and they are just going to become best buds, which is awesome. But they can get so enveloped within themselves that you and anyone else are just not present. Like they just do not listen. They will get a little bit too attached to themselves. They find their own fun within themselves, which is not really a good thing in the long run, because you want your dog to find you to be the most, from a training perspective, you want your dog to find you to be the most exciting and fun thing, because that's what's going to make them listen to you. That's going to make them engage with you more, which is going to help you to train them. If they find it within their other puppy friend, then you are number two and you want to be number one in their life, because that's how you can train your dog. That's how you can get them to listen to commands and work with you. So I would say with two puppies at the same time, I would say absolutely not. It's a very, very strong answer, but I wouldn't even do it. And I train dogs. And, it's a lot of work. You're going to be very stressed. And it'll be really cute at first. And then the cute is going to wear off. And it's going to have problems that are going to start peeking out, and it's going to be times two because they're both going to have it. So it's going to be hard. So that would be my first thought.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. I don't know, but I'm an absolutely no. I've seen a few instances where it works out. Now, where I have seen it work out well is when, we get two puppies and we don't have any other dogs in the household. Mm-hmm. Mom is in charge of one puppy, dad is in charge of the other puppy, and those puppies spend a lot of time apart from each other. So, because yes, I echo everything you just said. Right. The instances where I have seen it worked out is mom gets a puppy, dad gets a puppy, they do an extensive amount of training, the puppies are kennel trained separately, mm-hmm. They spend time apart from each other, they do things by themselves, or else we are.
Yeah, I would say that there can be a unicorn situation. Is how I guess I'll word it. Is maybe a unicorn, like where in the sense of you can have two puppies. If you go into this having researched, knowing what you need to do, making sure you have a trainer, or that you've maybe taken some classes online through a legitimate training company. If you ever have questions about those, I'd be absolutely happy to make recommendations. But taking classes through a legitimate training company or getting a trainer to help you each be able to tackle training for each puppy. And then I would even recommend having time apart. That's just not just when you're gone and they're in their kennels, but even when they're out where they don't, like maybe one's tethered to each person and they're not getting to always play, and you have like controlled play. Just like if you had just one puppy, my brain thinks, with a puppy, I always recommend to people, if you are not actively down on the floor with that puppy and watching them or playing with them, they should either be tethered into a specific area or maybe in a playpen so that you know what they are having access to and that they can't hurt themselves. So now I would almost say that could be beneficial for the two puppies, having times where they're just maybe tethered to each person and they get a toy or they get something else to play with. So they're not always getting all of their play from that other puppy.
Yes.
So that would be something I would say, if you go into this really prepared and researching and making sure you have like all of your ducks in a row, so to speak, I guess.
But I think as a general rule, we both agree, two puppies, a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And a lot of extra training on top of what it would be for just a puppy.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But yes.
And there's just many things that can just, if you're ready for it and you have done a lot of research and you have two of you that can tackle each one,
yes.
then, I think it can work in a unicorn situation.
Yeah.
But another thing that I think about too is I've had questions seen questions of, should my puppy or my dog is anxious, should I get a dog or a puppy for my dog because they're anxious? And that I feel like kind of leads like from one to the other with these two situations. So I really think that we should never get a dog for our dog, just because we want to be getting a dog because we're ready, because we've researched that we're ready for whatever type of dog, or, whether it's from a rescue or a breeder, making sure that you have done your research for what kinds of, if it's a mixed dog breed, do you know what those breeds are that dog has? Do you know that you can meet their mental and physical exercise, and just making sure that you're ready to take on another dog? Because it's not just going to be a solution of helping your dog that's anxious or feeling like they are lonely. That's not going to really always work out well that way. And, most of the time that's kind of a Band-Aid solution. I would say probably trying to help your dog if they're having issues first and seeing what those are. And then maybe after all of that's resolved, getting a dog. Because otherwise you might be creating a new problem.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that, are there benefits to, middle-aged and senior dogs to bringing a puppy in the house, and can a puppy rejuvenate play in that older dog and get them moving again and kind of bring life back into them? Absolutely 100%. Mm-hmm. But like Hillary said, we shouldn't get a dog for that dog. Get a dog because we're ready as a family to have another dog. We want this breed of dog so that it brings this certain personality into the house. And may that new dog bring a wealth of amazing benefits to the older senior dog. Absolutely, hands down. I have seen some older dogs that, they were slowing down. We started maybe seeing some mobility things. The puppy comes in and they're like running around the yard and doing so much better. But again, because the family was ready for the puppy, mm-hmm. And then the training and everything that went into the puppy happened along with that. So.
Yeah. No, I think that I completely agree with that. There can be situations where it can be beneficial, but I think trying to just get a puppy or a dog just because you think your dog might be lonely or they might be having some anxiety, it might not be the solution that you think is going to be resolved. There might be one thing, like it helps an older dog feel a little new life in their step, but then it might still bring up new issues because it doesn't really help with the anxiety. It just gave them more energy.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Kind of on the flip side of that for our cats and things like that. Yeah. Cats, sometimes it's easier to get two kittens at the same time versus bringing a young kitten into a house where a cat is set in its ways. Cats do have a lot of territorialism, and I always tell people, it's really like the Lion King. Like, they have their pride lands in their areas, and we can see a lot of maybe not obvious to us, but obvious to them, subtle inner cat, territorialism and things, and in some instances, cats that start urinating in the house because a new kitten has come in. Again, not to say that bringing a new kitten into the house with older cats can't be done very, very successfully, because it absolutely can. But sometimes that senior cat doesn't appreciate the new kitten quite as much as the senior dog appreciates the new puppy.
It can be a little different. It's always interesting to hear how different it can be from cats to dogs.
Yes, they've definitely got some different
it could be successful having two kittens, but it's going to be a lot of work if you get two puppies.
Yes, absolutely.
That's always fascinating, for sure. Thanks for joining us on this week's Positive Talks. Whether you're a devoted dog lover, a curious cat parent, or somewhere in between, we are glad to be a part of your journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep it positive.